This is the Navee GT3 Pro. It's got full suspension, a generous 48 volts battery, and 1000 watts of peak motor power at a really competitive price. On paper, this might just look like the most complete budget scooter this year, but how does it perform in the real world? I put it through my usual series of performance tests across 200 miles. I've measured its speed, acceleration, hill climbing, and braking, and done 3 real-world range tests at different speeds. In this data-driven review, I'll dive deep into my experience with the GT3 Pro so you know if it's worth your money. I'll be comparing it to the Segway E3 Pro, the new KQi 200F, and the other Navee GT3 versions. Just a quick note, if you want to support my independent testing, consider getting your next electric scooter through my affiliate link. There's a link for the GT3 Pro with a coupon down in the description. There's also links for practically every other scooter in the electric scooter database tool down in the description as well. Thanks for your support. The Navee has a 400 watt motor that peaks at 1000 watts, and it runs on a very consistent 48 volt system. I measured a top speed of 20.6 miles per hour, which is more than enough for most commuters. Unlike the new E3 Pro from Segway, it has a 48 volts battery, which means I was still hitting 20 miles per hour on very low battery. On the Segway and other 36 volts models, you'll notice the top speed and overall torque drop off towards the end of the charge, so performance retention is just gonna be a lot better on 48 volts models like the Navee. The acceleration is also pretty strong and a tad better than the base GT3 model. It's almost 2 seconds faster to 15 miles per hour than the 200F and 2.5 seconds faster than the E3 Pro. The power delivery feels smooth too. It's got a strong pickup without feeling like you're gonna get thrown off. It's also really solid on moderate hills. On my 8% grade test hill, it held an average of 8.5 miles per hour, which is ahead of the competition. It also managed to climb a super steep 17% incline, which the E3 Pro failed on. Overall, very solid motor performance. If you're over 200 pounds or have a moderately hilly commute, the GT3 Pro is a bit more capable than the 200F or the Segway E3 Pro. The GT3 Pro has a 48 volts 10.2 amp hours battery that gives it about 20% extra juice over the main competitors. As always, I ran 3 range tests at different speeds to see what you can expect in the real world. In the speed priority test, I got 18.3 miles. In my regular test, which is the most comparable for most people, I got 23.3 miles. And when I really slowed down to maximize range, I squeezed out 27.4 miles. So that 23.3 mile of real world range is about 25% better than the 200F and 35% better than the E3 Pro. So we're definitely getting more range for roughly the same price, sometimes even less when there's a sale going on. Now, Navee offers 3 versions of the GT3. The main difference is in the battery capacity. The base model has 358 watt hours and gets about 18.7 miles. And then the max version goes all the way up to 597 watt hours for 29.1 miles of range. For most riders, I think the Pro will be the sweet spot. You're basically getting 25% more range than the base model for only 2 pounds extra weight. And if you need over 25 miles per charge, the Max is the way to go. I've tested a lot of scooters at this price point, and to date, the GT3 Pro is the most comfortable. You've got a front fork with plenty of travel, rear spring suspension, plus 10-inch tubeless tires. The dual suspension is really plush and balanced. As you'll see here, the platform stays perfectly level with the ground, so one end doesn't overpower the other. On the KQi 200F, you only get front suspension, and the E3 Pro's dual suspension doesn't feel quite as well tuned. The deck measures 21 by 6.9 inches, and there's 40.5 inches from the deck to the handlebars, so it's just a really spacious ride that's gonna be a lot better for regular and taller riders who might feel cramped on smaller dimensions. Myself, I'm 5'11", and I found the GT3 Pro to be way more comfortable than the competition. For braking, Navee uses a front drum and regen braking. I measured a 14.1 foot stopping distance, which is more than enough for the speed level. The regen feels smooth, it engages nicely, there's no big dead zone or jarring grab. You can customize it in the app, it just feels progressive and predictable. Now the display, like with most other scooters, could be brighter, but I really like the wide handlebars as well as the carrying hook. Personally, I think this is a nice quality of life feature. that is just way too rare in the industry. It's such a simple thing to add, but it makes a big difference to have a place to hang your bag on longer commutes. If you're after the most comfortable scooter to ride at this price point, I highly recommend the GT3. The scooter weighs 48.5 pounds, so it's not the lightest commuter, but those extra pounds buy you a more spacious build with full suspension and a larger battery. The folding mechanism works smoothly, you've got a rear hook that locks into place, and a safety pin, and the weight distribution is dead center when folded, which makes it easier to carry. So if you look past that it's a bit heavier than some competitors, Navee is still taking all the right steps to make it as manageable as possible. I'm 175 pounds, and I find it perfectly fine to carry around. And also just considering if you truly care about portability, the weight difference between this and the E3 Pro or the KQR200F isn't all that big. It's not something that's going to make a whole lot of difference. The 200F is more compact with its foldable handlebars, but if you need something truly lightweight, where you're really going to notice the difference, you have to look at something like the new KQI Air, which is a bit more expensive though. I've stress tested the build and ridden it hard, and this scooter has just held up very well. The frame feels solid and the welds look clean. It has an IPX5 weather resistance rating, and I've used it in the rain several times. It's held up just fine. There's been no damage to the electronics whatsoever. Also, the stem and folding mechanism feel really robust. I've simulated some wear by folding it 200 times, and there's no play or loosening whatsoever. The mechanism still feels firm, but it's easy to disengage when you need to fold it. The fenders are made of thick plastic, and they have multiple mounting points with the frame, so they don't rattle or rub against the tires. Also, the cable management looks very clean. Most wires run internally, and the few entry points the scooter has are nicely sealed. The visibility setup is pretty good as well. The headlight isn't as bright as on the new 200F, but it's adjustable, and the taillight also increases in brightness when you engage the brake. The turn signals work well too, but it would be nice if they somehow integrated with the taillight for better visibility. Now lastly, the app is very basic. You can adjust the regen strength and turn signal behavior, and also toggle the traction control system, but there's no way to customize the acceleration strength, which is a bummer. There's also no zero start or cruise control. Overall, the essentials work fine, but if you're coming from a new or Segway scooter, you'll notice that there aren't as many features. Hopefully Navee built more features upon the really strong hardware foundation they've already established. So after 200 miles of testing, the Navee GT Pro is hands down the best value in the budget commuter segment at the moment. First off, dual suspension is just really rare at this price point, and it makes a huge difference on longer rides. The 48-volt system also just outperforms 36-volt competitors across the board, and with 23 miles of real-world range, this scooter ticks a lot of boxes. It's also low maintenance thanks to the drum brake, and you can always add tire sealant since it runs tubeless tires. It's not the lightest scooter, but I find the weight very manageable, especially considering the hardware you're getting. So if you want a scooter that feels genuinely comfortable and heavy duty without paying on the other side of $800, the GT3 Pro is an excellent choice. For this year, it's my #1 recommendation for a budget commuter, especially if you put capability and comfort over compact dimensions. If you're interested in the GT3 Pro, buying through my affiliate link in the description supports the channel at no extra cost to you. There's also a coupon down there. It directly helps me buy new scooters to test in the future. Also, check out my e-scooter database, where you can find and compare more than 300 models and set up price alerts for your favorites. It's completely free to use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.